Hi, I'm Jessica, and when I'm not drinking all the coffee, watching Razorback sports, or hanging out with my family of boys, it's my passion to help elementary music teachers just like you find your unique teaching style. My goal with this podcast is to share helpful tips, strategies, and to give you the motivation you need to gain momentum in your teaching so you can continue being the music teacher rock star you already are. Welcome to episode 9. Today we're going to be talking about new music teacher advice. And this is something, the things I'm going to share, things that I wish people had shared with me when I became a new music teacher. You know, in college, you learn all about classroom management, procedures, and teaching pedagogy. But there's these things that you don't really figure out until you get into the classroom about what exactly you're supposed to be doing, or am I doing things right? Is this how everybody else is doing it? You're going to have so many questions circulating in your brain. And so I wanted to share with you what I feel like new music teachers should know. There is so much advice out there, some good, some bad. And this is obviously my personal opinion. But these are things I wish people had shared with me when I started teaching. So first of all, I want to tell you to just take a deep breath. If you are about to be a new music teacher, maybe you just graduated from college, or maybe you are about to be new to teaching elementary music and you have been teaching in a secondary position, or are a musician that is new to teaching music in a classroom, then this advice can also apply to you. So, like I said, first of all, take a deep breath. You are going to be nervous. That's with anything in life. We're nervous when it's new. We're nervous when we become a new teacher. If you're in a new relationship and friendships, when you're a new parent, when you start any new job. I was a nervous wreck the first piano lesson I ever taught. I was so nervous. The first time I played, I was an accompanist. First time I was like, oh my gosh, what if I screw up this whole piece at their concert? Anything you do in life, you're going to be nervous when you go in. And please know that the teachers in your building, they will know that you're a new teacher. And they're going to give you grace, and they're going to let you make mistakes, and they're going to be there to help you. So, first of all, just take a deep breath, okay? Second of all, I want to tell you to just be you. And some of this I shared in my blog post that about 4 things every new music teacher should know. And some of the things I'm going to share with you are things that I did not include in the blog post, but I'll be linking to the blog post in the show notes. Or you can just go ahead and head to my blog at thedomesticmusician.com and look that up. It's the latest one. So I wanted to tell you to be you. Every teacher, no matter what subject they teach, is different. And I've mentioned this before. Every person has a unique personality. And I think that unique personality, what makes you so unique and special is you bring your unique personality to teaching. It doesn't matter if you do it like the music teacher before you. It doesn't matter if you do it like the music teacher down the street from you. It doesn't matter if you even teach like the professor who is teaching you how to teach music. You just need to be you. And go in with confidence. Know that you are prepared. You are, even if you're learning as you go in with confidence and be you. Be with your personality. You are exactly who your students need. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to just quickly recap because I've probably said this a million times now, but my first teaching job was in the middle of the school year, and I had no teaching resources. I had no one to help me. My mentor teacher didn't know about music. And I did. I figured it out as I went along. I literally was just kind of like, if these people right now knew how much I was faking it till I make it. But I did. I was like, oh, I totally know what I'm doing. I got this. I'm just going to, but go in with confidence, and everybody they'll be really impressed. They'll be like, oh my gosh, she's new, but man, she's got it together. Okay. So the second thing is, make sure you get to know other teachers in your building, the support staff, your principal, The parents, you're not going to be able to get to know every parent, on a personal level, because you're going to more than likely have all the students in the school. But don't be afraid to tell them hi if you see them. They may be looking at you like, who is that telling me hi? Because they don't know you, and that's okay. But, don't make it awkward and be like, hi, I'm the new music teacher. I'm Miss Smith. How are you? But slowly let relationships develop on their own timing. You're going to get to know the other teachers in your building through beginning of the year professional development, through needing their help with things, collaborations throughout the school year, seeing them face to face every time they drop their students off. You're going to just like in a friendship, relationships with other teachers will develop at their own pace. So don't force it, and don't be offended if some of them don't talk to you. It's probably nothing personal. They're probably just busy, or they're, maybe they're just not used to you yet, or they're just letting the relationship happen in its own timing also. But the main people, I feel like, I did have a college professor tell me this, and I literally did not understand what he meant until I got into teaching. He said, the two main people that you need to get to know in your school are the secretary and the janitor. And I looked at him like, what? Why? I don't, I'm going to be nice to everyone and respectful to everyone. And I just didn't understand why those two particular people would be the most important to get to know. I would think it would be, my principal, possibly the counselor, or, the art teacher. And so once I started teaching, it wasn't even like a weekend where I had like a kindergartner have an accident on my floor. And who did I need to call? Of course, the janitor. I needed help moving the risers when we did a program. And then the secretary, I needed help because I was new, needed help figuring out how in the world to schedule a field trip, because I did not realize it was literally like signing a blood oath to get you to bring kids off campus. My goodness, all the paperwork to fill out. It's probably simpler now. There's probably like an online process, but back in my dinosaur age, there was literal paperwork to fill out. It was ridiculous. So she helped me along the ropes with that. The copy machine was broken, or I couldn't remember my PIN number to make copies. She was right there to help me. And I'm telling you, right now, if I had not gotten to know them and I had just been like, wait, what's that janitor's name again? Let me call him. Oh, and then he would still come because that's his job. But I mean, I'm telling you, there would be sometimes 3 or 4 requests at the same time, and they would always make an effort to get to me first because I was very respectful. So I'm really glad I heard that advice, because I feel like it really helped. I didn't realize how much that advice was true until I got into teaching. You do not realize how much you're going to need all of the support stuff actually until you start teaching. So another piece of advice I would give is when you get the chance to take, I took an ORF level, but any ORF or Kodály level course you can take, go for it. It will dramatically change your teaching for the better. You obviously go in with a bunch of teaching materials and things you're wanting to teach, and you've learned about the teaching methods, but it's not really until you take one of those levels, I feel, that it really just changes up your teaching and really gives you new and fresh ideas to use with your students. The other thing I want to say is, don't just practice procedures at the beginning of the school year, but practice them continuously all throughout the school year, because you are going to need to sometimes stop the class period and remind your 4th grade class who's acting up about the procedures. And you may need to stop the class and walk out the door and walk back in, and they're going to have to practice how to get back to their seats correctly. Let me start over. The more you practice procedures correctly at the beginning of the school year, or if you're like me and you're starting in the middle of the school year, that's a whole different can of worms right there. But if you set the groundwork from the beginning, then the rest of the school year, you'll just need to be reminding them with some practicing of procedures. And so making sure the kids know what you expect, and then that there's also positive and negative consequences to their behavior, then I'm not saying you will never have problems. That's naive of me to say, because you will. You're always going to have distractions, and you're going to have those children that are acting up, and you're going to have hard classes. I don't know why sometimes it's just like, it seems like there's classes that come in and you just enjoy teaching them more, and then there's somehow these kids all get in a class together and you're like, how the heck did they all get in the same class? But you're going to have hard classes. And so they're going to be the ones you got to stay on and really practice procedures with more than some of your other classes. But make sure you practice those procedures continuously. The other piece of advice I would give, like I said, to just give yourself a break. Make sure you really do allow yourself time to relax. Make sure that the first year is going to be a learning curve. You're going to be staying at school later or bringing stuff home because you're really planning it out and trying to figure out the best way to create your lesson plans, the best lessons to teach throughout the school year to cover all the objectives. What songs are you exactly going to teach? How do you want to teach them? You're going to be figuring out your teaching style. You're going to be realizing to not plan too much into, or to not plan too little. All these little ebbs and flows that come into your first year teaching in procedures, classroom management, all the things are going to be there. And you're going to be, the first year is really a learning curve. But what I want to tell you is please make sure you're including time to relax. Please make sure you are, I don't know, maybe it's just one day a week, Friday. You're like, listen, I'm really giving myself a weekend. I got to get a break. I have to mentally unwind and go home and just do something fun, and make sure you give yourself time to relax your first year teaching because it will get stressful. But make sure you also, on the flip side of that, know that if it's your mentor teacher or another music teacher that you know in the district, or just the teacher next door to you, or even the art teacher or the PE teacher, if they've been there a while, make sure you ask them about the way things are done at your particular school. Or even though they're teaching a different subject, ask them about procedures they do in their classroom, or how much time do they allow time to line up the kids, or how do they hand out lunch cards to get that particular class to lunch, or whatever little questions you have. There is no dumb question. You are new and you are allowed to ask questions, and to get, the only way these other teachers know to help you is if you ask. Do not be embarrassed to ask for help. Don't, like I said, go in with confidence, obviously, because you know what you're doing and you're prepared. But on the flip side of that, don't be afraid to ask for help, because every single teacher has done it. Even teachers that have taught for 10, 15 years still ask other teachers for help or critique or reinforcement or whatever. They all do. And the last thing I want to remind you of is distractions will happen. There's going to be fire drills and assemblies and classes pulled for field trips and all kinds of other distractions you don't even realize about. And just as long as you know that's going to happen, and making sure your lesson plans are flexible during that time when these distractions happen, then it'll really save yourself a headache. If you've planned to see 5 classes that particular day and you only end up seeing 3 because 2 of them are out for various reasons, those classes will catch up. Do not even worry about it. Just know that distractions will happen and it's okay. So those are some pieces of advice I want to leave with you. There's so many other pieces of advice I could give you, but those are the main things I want to leave with you, to just go in with just knowing your first year, like I said, is a learning curve, and you're gonna get through it. I promise. You're going to figure out your teaching style. You're going to figure out what works and what doesn't work, and you're going to figure out how to teach your kids effectively. And you got this. This is your classroom. It's exciting. You're not student teaching anymore, and this is your classroom now. So enjoy it. Be that teacher that you've been preparing to be all along. All right, you guys, have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, I would love for you to review the show and leave a rating on iTunes. To find out more about how I can help you gain momentum in your elementary music teaching career, head to thedomesticmusician.com, where you'll find free downloads, courses, the blog, and so much more. Continue teaching music and never doubt the impact you're making each and every day in the lives of your students.